if I wanted to live like a prince, like I wanted to like have the nicest experience, like and have every servants, like people bringing me the food, all that kind of stuff. In one of these countries, what is that going to run me on a monthly basis? Like how much would my total expense be?
I mean, you're not going to spend more than 2K, I think. As one person, it's going to be really hard to spend more. Like I got massages every other day, and a massage costs around $6 or $7.
Wow. Welcome to another episode of Agency Growth Engine. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the CEO of an 8-figure dental marketing agency, and I get to interview awesome people about awesome stuff that they do with their agency. And I get to interview my friend, Sven. This is actually our third attempt. The last couple times, here's the cool thing about Sven is he travels the world and kind of just is place to place to place. So we tried to do it one time. I think you were in Bali or somewhere like that. And then the next time you were in Germany, and the internet and just different things didn't work. But now we've actually got the opportunity to meet in person. And Sven runs a marketing agency that only does TikTok ads, which I love how niche that is. So Sven, thank you so much for coming on, talking with me today. And tell me a little bit just about your agency for those that haven't heard of you before.
Yeah, I figured since we tried twice already, I might as well come to the same city and try again. Yeah, we do TikTok ads only, like you said. We have D2C e-commerce businesses, and we only do TikTok ads right now. My thought of process when I started there was we did Google and Facebook ads, but I wanted to really focus on mastering one thing and like become the go-to guy in that area. And since TikTok ads was fairly new, that's what we went with, switching from Facebook to that. Down the road, we will probably add back some Facebook ads in there, some retargeting mostly. But yeah, for right now, it's just TikTok ads. So our agency is a little bit like a creative agency. One of my friends asked me the other day, hey, are you actually a creative agency? I'm like, yeah, kind of, because, with the pics and all that stuff nowadays, even on Facebook, it's more about the creative. We have brands, nail the creative. We have in-house creators that do it for us. We have scripts that we use and basically do it all for them. Optimize, conversion rate optimization, all the good stuff too.
That's awesome. And I want to talk a little bit about your journey, but before we do that, just tell us about how big you are. Like what size agency are you?
All right. So right now we're between 30 and 60K monthly revenue. Work only with contractors still right now. I'm looking to bringing some script writers and video editors on soon. Right now I'm working on doing that with contractors. I'm doing it with contractors right now, experimenting like how can I shift this into a full-time role.
So about you have about 9 team members right now, is that right?
Yeah, if you don't count creators. If you count creators, it's like 15, 20 creators, but I wouldn't really necessarily count that as contractors, right?
That makes sense. Okay, now I know that before you were just a private freelancer. You went out and you were just kind of doing jobs here and there, and I know you like certain parts of that. So tell me how you made that transition from a freelancer to actually running a full-fledged agency.
Right. To me, it was never just about staying in freelance. I always thought about it as like it's nice and you learn a lot, but I always felt like at some point you would max out to some extent. At some point it just becomes like another job. Let's say you're good at Facebook ads as a freelancer, right? At some point I feel like that there's not much you can add on anymore. Obviously you're consistently learning, but I always felt like being the business, you shift into a leader, you have new challenges, all that stuff. So I felt like it's more of probably it takes more effort, obviously, to grow that into an agency, but I always felt like the challenge was more fun. So to me, it came kind of natural. Like I always knew I didn't want to just be a freelancer. I always wanted to grow it into more than that. So the transition to me, obviously, you've helped me a lot. The mastermind, obviously, you brought me on. Like I think will help a lot in the future too. Just talking to other people who've done it. For me, one big thing I will say is just link to people older than me or who have done it. I just try to always, whenever somebody says something like you, try to listen to it and remember that.
Thanks. You just called me older. I appreciate that. No, I'm just messing with you. So I'm definitely older. I'm probably double. I think I'm about double your age. So
fun fact. My girlfriend said the other day. She said, "Oh yeah, he looks like you, but an older version." I don't know if that's a compliment for you, but
No, it is. That's a compliment. You got the beard. You got the hair down. We got the agency starter kit. So okay. So walk me through the difference though, right? Like why? Because not everybody should start an agency, and some people should stay as a freelancer. So give me the pros and cons of being a freelancer versus the agency owner. Like what's the give and take there?
Right. So I think let's start with freelancing. I think the pros are you're very flexible. You don't really have any responsibilities towards anybody but your clients, right? Like if you want to have less work tomorrow, less clients, you just fire 2 clients or tell them like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. And that's it. You just cut back a little bit. On the agency side, then obviously, you have people relying on you, a team, also kind of responsible towards yourself because you want to grow it. Like it's a thing towards yourself too, where you don't necessarily want to take a step back, right? I think downsides of freelancing are, in my experience, it's a little more inconsistent because obviously, you can always have a steady flow of clients, but I think still, if you lose a client, it's a bigger deal than when you have an agency and then lose a client.
Yeah.
So it's obviously smaller business, right? So if you lose a client, it hurts more. And also everything is on you. Like with an agency, certain parts of the business you won't like, I think. So if that's something like where you just want to get rid of that, I think agency could be the way to go because then, you can just hire somebody to do it for you or outsource it, something like that. Yeah, I think that's like the main things I can come up with on top of my head.
That's really good. That's very, very self-aware because I totally agree with that. And there's risk to everything. So a lot of times people think, oh, it's too risky to go open a business, but it's risky to be a freelancer too. There's risk involved with it. Tell me the story about how you got your first client.
How I got my first
for TikTok
client.
ads.
For TikTok ads? Oh, okay. I mean, at that point, I was doing Facebook and Google already, right? And I had building some type of LinkedIn presence. And I just kind of posted about TikTok ads around January or so on LinkedIn. And I realized, that gets a lot of traction than like my usual posts about business and all that stuff. So I kind of just went with it and was like, okay, let me try posting about that. And it got so much more traction and I didn't see anybody posting about it. So I started that. And then soon, like some people hit me up like, hey, I want to try. And then I kind of tried for very low cost, almost free in the beginning. Just like basically a side hustle to my other side hustle, my freelancing or whatever. And yeah, then I just decided to make the full switch because I realized I can probably pull much bigger clients faster because it's so niche and new. And yeah, that's how I got the first client. And from there on, it just kind of like took off because, like I said, TikTok is very new. TikTok ads even newer.
Yeah.
It still is. People still get on it.
Still people. Yeah. There's still a lot of nuances around it. What are your, you said, I know you're an athlete. I know you like to play sports. So tell me a story about how you were an athlete and like what you really took from that and then how that's helped you in business.
Yeah, no doubt my work ethic. As an athlete, like I've never been the pretty player. So I play basketball and I'm 6'8", so obviously. I've never been the guy that like, has the nicest fadeaway jump shot or something. I mean, it's pretty nice, but I always came through effort. Like I always be the guy, there's a ball on the floor, I break a leg if I have to get that ball. I throw some elbows, I break somebody's nose, like that type of player, right? So I always like came with effort and coaches always like that. So I was like, if I'm not good or not as talented, I will outwork them though. So I went to the weight room and all that kind of stuff. So very work heavy, not very pretty, never been the most athletic, but I just made up for it with effort, like just fighting and stuff.
What area of your business right now that you're having to work the hardest in? What's the part where you're like dumping your energy in?
I think right now it must be scripting. So scripting the ads out of all it. So basically creative, like the editing. I'm handing off a lot right now. It's working pretty well where I think like, okay, I think I'm ready to hire full-time editor. But the scripting is still, I'm not entirely sure how to pass that on yet. And for me, it also takes a lot of creative energy, right? If you script like 4 hours in a day or so, a bunch of ads, like it just takes a lot coming up with these new hooks. I mean, imagine like writing LinkedIn posts for like a full day. So yeah,
it's hard. It's hard. Now, what I know, one of the things you like to travel. So I know that's one of the benefits of doing the work that you do. You can travel all over the world. But for me, so I like consistency. So now I have kids too, so I can't. Even if I wanted to travel, I couldn't. Right, my kids are in school, things like that. But when I do the best work, it's when I have my routine in place, and I have my office set up the exact way. Like if you walked in my office right now, like it's the cameras, the computer, and everything's ready to go. I just press a button or two and everything fires up, and I can shoot a podcast, I could shoot videos, I could send emails, I can even exercise right where I'm standing right now. So everything is set up perfectly for me. It's very comfortable for me, and that's where I do the best work. So but I'm a routine guy, so keep that in mind. So like for me, when I hear somebody like you, they're like, yeah, I just travel and I go to these places and then I just kind of set up shop here for a couple weeks and then I go to the next place. It literally gives me anxiety trying to figure out like, how are they doing that? Like, how are they getting the outcomes that they want? So walk me through how you do what you do and you travel.
Yeah, I think one of the big differences is when people think about traveling, they think about, okay, 3 weeks here in this country, 3 weeks in another country. I'm a big fan of slow traveling. What it means is usually you stay, I'd say at least a month or so. I think 2 months or so is ideal in one place. So me and my girlfriend are moving to Colombia in December. We're going to stay in Medellin for a month and potentially even 2, and then move to another city for a month, but in Colombia as well. So we don't have to worry about all the visa stuff. We just find another apartment. So, and within the month, you also find your routine, right? You find the gym you go to for a month, all that kind of stuff. So to me, I like breaking out of the routine sometimes. Like I have to go to the gym every day. That's like something that's my routine, like you, that I can't give up.
Me too.
And I have to have like a standing desk of some type because I don't like to sit the whole time. So I find like a bar.
Yeah, plus you're taller. So I imagine the chairs aren't set up properly. You're not going to have the proper leg room and all that.
Yeah, I stack a lot of boxes and then just like put my laptop on top of it. In Bali, I put a nightstand on top of a kitchen counter and put my laptop on that. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, so basically like those two things, like having a standing setup somewhere and, keep it for a month or so, and the gym for me a routine. I like seeing new things. Like I'm just at a stage of my life right now where I couldn't think of where to settle down. Like if you ask me today, okay, what country do you want to live in? I'm like, I don't know. I get bored after 2 months.
Yeah.
So, that's why I like need new things.
Got it. And so tell me how does that work from like a business standpoint? Like where do you pay your taxes to, and how does that work? Do you have to move your business every single time you move, or do you just have like a home base, or how does that work?
Yeah, right. So since I'm like full nomad mode, I gave up my I'm not a resident in Germany anymore. I'm German by a German citizen, but I don't have a residency there. So technically, if you ask me, okay, what's your home address? Like, I don't have one at all.
Yeah.
So I don't pay taxes anywhere. And the way it works, if you do that, is you pay taxes wherever your business makes the money. So since my business is registered in Wyoming in the US, and my clients are American as well, most of them, I pay taxes in the US for that. I'm basically
why Wyoming?
Like
why did you do Wyoming? Citizen. I've never heard anybody say that before.
Oh, really? I thought that was to me, from
Delaware is the
I know, Delaware. Yeah, Delaware for like C corps and stuff, and I heard Wyoming is slightly better for S corps.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that before. I've heard Delaware all the time, but I never heard Wyoming before. That's cool. And then so now
some non-disclosure stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. So let me change gears on you. So right now we're hearing a lot of words about recession. And so people are talking like crazy, like all these people got laid off. What's a recession? So obviously these tech companies are laying people off ahead of time because they are forecasting low profits in Q1 and Q2 of next year. So the way that they get ahead of that is they lay off 10,000 people. If they pay them all $10,000 a month, they just saved over $250 million next year in quarter one and in quarter two. So that's going to help them offset some of these profit losses that they're going to see or what they're forecasting, right? So obviously as small business owners like us, we don't really look at the world that way, right? We don't look that far out. We don't have those kind of tools in our back pocket like those businesses do. And not saying that that's the way that we would approach it even if we did, but how like for you, you're not only thinking about there might be a recession coming, but you also have to think about where am I living when that recession hits, which in my head, I'm like, man, now you may just say, Gary, I don't think about it. I just move forward. But I'm just curious, how are you processing that information?
I would say I'm directly thinking about it and where I'm going to live. Just in general, aside from the recession, I'm thinking about, okay, why wouldn't I live somewhere where it's cheaper and I can have a way higher quality of life, right? Like in Bali or coming up in Colombia, our apartment there's actually going to be pretty nice and like half of what my girlfriend pays in LA. And she doesn't even have like a view, no daylight in here and stuff. So it's insane.
Yeah, so let's talk
right?
about that. What's the cost difference from when you're working and living in Los Angeles right now versus somewhere like Bali or Colombia?
Oh, it's absolutely insane. So I don't know exactly what the cost in LA, because obviously I'm splitting it and all that, right? And it's technically one person apartment, but we live in a with two for now. So in Bali, as one person, you can easily. I think I spent the 2 months I spent there. It was about maybe $1,000 a month, maybe a little less.
For rent?
No, of our living costs.
Right, so just so people know, in LA County, like to get a one bedroom or no bed a studio that's built out of a garage that's like has the bare minimum, like very, very small, is going to cost you at least what, $2,000, $2,500?
Probably like
minimum,
$2,000.
right? Yeah, and in a house, to buy a house, just so everybody understands this too, to buy a house in the worst neighborhood. So think of LA, think of the worst neighborhoods in LA. To buy a house there is going to be easy $500,000-$600,000, easy.
Yep.
So to say $1,000 is your total living cost, from an entrepreneur standpoint, it seems pretty safe, because can I generate $1,000 every single month? Yeah, I think I can, even remotely, right? So that's such a low bar. It would be hard to live anywhere else after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like my risk in business, there's a lot of risks and stuff, but I always tell myself, like, even if the business goes down today or something, I still can survive for quite long, just because my costs are so low. Like I just stay in Colombia the whole time. And, even within the country, like $1,000 in Bali, for example, I wasn't living bad. I had a small kitchen, nice bathroom, had like a really nice room with a view to rice fields, got breakfast every morning. And that was like $15 a night, breakfast included. Really fast Wi-Fi and everything. And then, meals twice a day. I eat a lot, so I probably spend like probably $8 on lunch and dinner combined, maybe 10 at most.
That's crazy.
Gas is like,
I paid $34 for a burrito yesterday, just to give you context, right? I ordered a burrito. It was $16-$17 for the burrito. I got the special sauce on it, so it was $18 for the burrito. It wasn't even that good of a burrito either. Like, it wasn't like, this must be an amazing burrito. It was just like, and then after all the fees to deliver and all that stuff and taxes, it was $36 for the burrito. I had to post it online because I was sick, so I was like not going to go out and get it. It was like, whatever, you can charge me whatever you want right now. And I literally have people on Facebook that are like, Gary, I'm going to send you recipes for burritos, because it's like, but it's just such a huge contrast. So what I paid for a burrito to be delivered to me, you could eat a ton of food for 3 days in another country.
That was my daily budget. I told myself all costs combined was going to be like around $40. So I spend at most like $1,200 a month. Like, you can go fancier too, you can get like 5-star villa. Even a villa isn't that expensive, to be honest. So you can get a villa and pay $20 a night, but you can get like skydiving and all that stuff and spend a little more.
So like, if I wanted to live like a prince, like I wanted to like have the nicest experience, like, and have every, servants, like people bringing me the food, all that kind of stuff, in one of these countries, what is that going to run me on a monthly basis? Like, how much would my total expense be?
I mean, you're not going to spend more than $2,000, I think. As one person, it's going to be really hard to spend more. Like, I got massages every other day, and a massage costs around $6 or $7.
Wow.
For half an hour or an hour.
That's crazy.
So, it's very hard to spend more. Like, gas is like
$2,500, you can basically go live in one of those countries and basically live top notch.
Yeah, you'd live like a celebrity in Hollywood. If you're $2,500, that's really hard. I tried my hardest to spend my $40 a day. It was hard. I was eating like 2 dinners and then like a lunch and fancy places too, like sushi and all that. Sushi, like I ate like 50 sushi rolls for my birthday, and I spent I think I spent $12.
That's crazy. All right, so I want to kind of change gears on you, because I think you're very successful on LinkedIn. You obviously have TikTok ads figured out. Where do you think right now are the 5 biggest opportunities for agencies moving forward? Where, like if you were just coming into the agency space like today and you didn't have anything behind you, where do you see opportunities being created?
I think TikTok organic, that's one thing I haven't fully mastered yet, and lately haven't really put any effort into. I think TikTok organic is still underrated. You just got to be really a lot better now than it used to be. Like you said, LinkedIn. To me, LinkedIn is still top notch. Like if I had to get a client today so I can eat tomorrow, I'll probably just code DM a bunch of people on LinkedIn, and code email potentially, like just reach out. I think also with LinkedIn, it's really underrated to build like a referral network, right? Especially with Recession and stuff. I've focused on that a lot lately. Just, getting, not really posting to get clients directly from that all the time, but just getting to know people that work with your client.
Let me push on that a little bit because I love LinkedIn too. I think LinkedIn is basically the business equivalent to TikTok, where TikTok's more recreational used and LinkedIn is more of like the business use, but they have extremely high up ends, right? So they both can do a wonderful job of getting in front of a lot of people really, really quickly. And it's not like super complicated. Like sometimes Instagram is so hard to figure out why. It's like, why did that work and not this? And TikTok and LinkedIn are a little bit simpler. So from LinkedIn, like, so you could you see somebody like starting an agency around helping people blow up on LinkedIn? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of people doing that, right? There's a lot of people offering personal branding for LinkedIn, like ghostwriting and all that. So that's been done already, and I think it's definitely a very successful thing. I'm not like the biggest fan of people posting. It's like the social proof cycle, what I would call it, like where you post on a platform, TikTok or LinkedIn, and talk about how to become successful on the platform. So that's how you gain your followers, and those followers then are social proof for you. So that in itself, then you can talk about how you grew, but really you just talked about growing on the platform the whole time. So it's like, I'm not the biggest fan of that, but there's also people like that doing either. It right.
It's very, because the people that you're attracting to listen to that don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're just starting.
There's some people doing it the right way too, but like a lot of people try to go that route.
So TikTok organic, LinkedIn. What are some other opportunities from an agency standpoint? Any niches that you like more than others, or anything like that?
So probably Twitter. I personally don't know how easy it is to get leads off it, but Twitter itself I like a lot because it's a lot.
I know some people that love Twitter and say, "Oh man, Twitter is awesome," and I don't get Twitter. To be honest with you, every time I go in, it's like a toxic wasteland of drama. You know what I mean? That I'm just like, I don't have time for this. But I know people feel the same way about TikTok too.
Yeah. So I use Twitter. I don't really use it. I post when I need creators, UGC creators. I post on there, and the UGC community on there is huge. So that's what I use it for. I think other than that, YouTube Shorts. I think we talked about it. That's going to be a big one. That's very underrated.
So like, what do you see there? Because I know obviously they're going to start the creator fund for that. And YouTube now is kind of battling it out with TikTok. So what do you see happening there?
Yeah, it's going to be tough because really the thing that TikTok had over YouTube was the reach. The way it used to be is you grow TikTok and then you take those followers and make a YouTube around it, right? And have them subscribe to your YouTube channel to monetize it. Now you can basically do all that on YouTube. I think TikTok is still going to be very relevant, and they're coming out with something similar in some way. I know they have one model where they pay the top 4% of creators. The videos can be monetized, so basically like a YouTube ad. You can put a YouTube ad in front of it, like target a specific video, so that's going to help. But I think long term, like from a creator perspective, it's still YouTube is more valuable in terms
more valuable.
Yeah, in terms of like getting success there. But TikTok is still going to be, a lot more of like blowing up. We'll see where that goes with Shorts. Honestly, maybe TikTok is just going to become obsolete for a lot of creators that want to monetize it.
Yeah.
I think simply
because I know that's the beef that all the TikTokers have, right? I know tons of TikTokers with 1 million followers or plus that are like, I don't make money off of it. And they've tried to move it to other platforms and it doesn't work the same way. But if they can just take that content, repurpose it on YouTube Shorts, and those blow up, and then put some monetization behind that could be crazy.
Yeah, what I don't see a lot of people doing actually, since we talked about opportunities, is teaching creators how to monetize it. Like I know there's a few people, but like you said, so many have 2 million followers and don't make a cent. Meanwhile, people with 10,000 make a killing of it.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
just
I think
teach them.
it's the chicken and the egg thing, right? So like if you're really good at creating, I'm not a creator. I'm not a natural creator. So it's like it's always a struggle for me to like, I don't want to phrase it this way. I don't want to say it this way. And I don't want to I know the algorithm wants that, but I don't want to do that. This is the proper way to do it, right? There's that give and take, right? So for like, if you own a business and you're successful in your business and then go to those platforms, it's a totally different feeling than if you are the kind of person that's really good at creating. Those people tend not to be the greatest business people because they're more creative. They're like an artist, right? They're like a songwriter. Songwriters aren't great business people. That's why the music industry always takes advantage of them, because they're creators, they're artists. So I see that in these creators that struggle with that they don't get that business side down quite as well.
Yeah, I think when one of us gets like 10,000 followers on a platform or something, like, oh, what could they want? What could we potentially like sell them? What would they be interested in? How can we make like an email list? Those type of things, right? And creators are just like, yeah, how can I reach 50,000 followers, 100,000?
Yeah.
Like, that's cool, but it doesn't feed me.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a totally different vibe. Well, Sven, this has been awesome. I love talking with you, but I know people need your help out there. So if somebody is thinking about running TikTok ads, number one, how can they reach out to you and get in touch with you? And number two, like what is any advice that you would offer to the world out there as far as TikTok ads go?
Yeah, so contact is probably easiest through LinkedIn. Just search me up, Sven Muchow, SvenMuchow. Kind of hard to spell. So my website and everything is on there too. Can find everything in one place. For TikTok ads, advice I'd have is, think about it more as a creative thing than actually running ads. Don't try to figure out some algorithm, some targeting miracle or something like that. If anybody tries to really sell you on like, hey, here's the secret strategy, how I run my ads, how I target with my ads on TikTok, and it's a course or something, it's probably bullshit. If it's not about creative, then it can't be good. So that's a word of advice I'd say. If it's not about the creative, it's not going to be good advice.
That's awesome. Great stuff, Sven. As always, thank you so much for being straight up with people and sharing kind of your point of view from the world. And I can't wait to drop this episode, man.
Yeah, appreciate you for having me.